Hello, my friend. I'm back today to empower you and your voice. What I'll give you today is your 3 biggest superpowers when it comes to you putting out your music and outing yourself as an artist. So let's get into it. Your biggest superpower number 1 is your voice. Duh. I feel like we're experiencing very special times nowadays in the music industry where, there's AI and there's a lot of tools that allow a lot of people to express themselves, create music, and put songs out. So the one thing that nobody can copy from you and nobody can take away from you is your voice. So I want to encourage you to ask yourself, instead of comparing yourself to others and judging your voice, what is unique about it? Play around with it and find out where your sweet spots are. Where does your voice feel really good in your body? Where do you feel like there's a pull for you to lean into? I think when I look on social media and I look at singing tutorials, nobody really talks that much about how important it is for your voice to feel good. When I started to sing, I used to first just lock myself into my room because I didn't want anybody else to hear me. And really the reason why I was singing is because it was feeling so good in my body. It was really soothing. And from all the handstands I was doing, I used to be a handstands and flexibility coach. I think that my body had actually built up physical tension in the neck area. And, singing was a way for me to get back to my breath, relax my nervous system, and just get back into a state where I am relaxed, open, and more healthy. So I think there is a lot of power in you connecting to your voice, not based on necessarily who you think you should sound like or who you think you should be, but based on what are the physical sensations that are feeling really good in your body when you sing, when you hum, when you come up with something, and then take it from there. And it's really interesting. I don't know how your journey is going to be. I think every journey is unique. But from my experience, I used to sing very soft and sad songs, a lot of sad songs, because I had a lot of emotional stuff to resolve. And now I love singing powerful songs, and I'm really enjoying that. And my voice has gotten a lot stronger. And it coincides with my personality having changed quite a lot as well, and me having gotten more confident about who I am and what I'm here to do in this world. So just put that into the back of your mind. What feels good when you sing? Lean into where it feels good and become an observer of your voice and yourself and play with it, and then take your vocal journey into the direction that feels interesting to you. Your second biggest superpower is your creativity. And again, I have to start with the context we're in right now, because there is this massive shift going on where the music industry is being opened up to everyday people. It didn't used to be this way, that we could just make songs, put them out, connect with other people on social media, create our own audience, be in a conversation with the people we look up to. Just think about it. It used to be that you had to go through a label, and then you would know the music that was on the radio, and it was being fed to you, basically. Somebody was deciding what is worth listening to, and you had to be discovered or have the right connections or whatever. But now, if you're a fan of Taylor Swift, you can listen to her songs, and then you can make your own songs as a reaction to that, or as an inspiration from that. And you can become part of the cultural conversation, which means that instead of being a passive consumer, you're now an active creator and contributor to shaping our culture. And I think that is so, so exciting. And so it opens up the music industry to people and musicians with different perspectives, different levels of, musicianship, different styles, different backgrounds, different everything. Basically, we're in this melting pot of diversity, and we can take charge. We can contribute, we can influence, which we weren't able to do before. So you can do this in whatever way you want. The music industry is your playground now. And so the question becomes, what do you want to share? What do you want to contribute? And that is your third superpower. So once you're at the point where you've built up your confidence and you've kind of gone through all your shit, you've gotten back to who you are and who you want to be in this world, then you can go out with a strong message, and your message is your superpower. So I want to encourage you to think about, if you could leave the world with one sentence, what would that sentence be? And I don't want to overwhelm you here, because you don't have to know this. You really don't. But let me tell you about my experience. I'm actually finding that I am more of a process than I am a defined thing. So when I say think about your message, I'm not asking you to put yourself into a box and say, I am this and I'm forever going to be this. No. It's more about the process of you reconnecting with yourself and marinating on those things. And by doing that, you iterate. And I've said in previous videos that I believe that we humans are just walking processes. And this is in fact the way our human biological and energetical system works, is based on input, sensory input we receive, we integrate it in our brains, and then we form an output in the form of a movement, in the form of a thought, in the form of an energetic shift. We are processes that are going through this feedback loop all the time. So the question is not, who are you as a fixed thing, but what is the journey you're on? And you'll get that by walking the walk and doing the thing. You'll get that through practice and iteration, practice and iteration. It really is as simple as that. But it's then about zooming out and taking a step back and looking at yourself. So when I got into music, I always wanted to release an album, because I just thought it's a really cool idea to leave an album behind. And I was so burnt out and depressed. And so I felt like, okay, this is the last thing I have to do. And then I don't care if I die. This is the last thing, basically, that I have to take off my bucket list, because otherwise, why was I on Earth? So I used the creation of my album as a way to learn music production, and I got into this creative process. And it's only in hindsight that I'm connecting the dots and realizing, oh, what has she been doing this whole time? It's like all of my songs are starting to make sense in hindsight, and I can see a narrative developing kind of on its own, but it's kind of this bizarre thing where I need to step back, give myself some space, and look back at where I went. And by staying in the creative process, I'm like kind of having premonitions about where I'm going. And it's a really weird thing. The bottom line of what I want to say is what my message is becomes clearer as I go. And it's because I'm in the process, I'm in flow, and it becomes like a feedback loop with when I iterate on what I'm making and what other people are making. And it becomes this conversation that I was talking about earlier. Now, traditionally, you would go through this process of making a lot of songs, getting closer to the message you want to put out in private, and you would develop a brand around it and an aesthetic, and then you would release your music. I kind of did all of it out in the open because that's just how I did it. But, you know, if you were to work with a label, they would figure everything out before that, and then you'd come out with a brand. And surely that's going to have more impact. Like the way I did it, it was more like, oh, I'm just in the process in front of other people, and the brand is wishy-washy. People don't really know what I'm about. They might know it over time, but it's not the most efficient way if you're interested in getting a big audience and being really successful. But like I said, regular people now have access to just being creators. So, what are we really doing this for? What are you really doing this for? Think about it. In any case, your message is what makes your songs meaningful, not just to you, but to other people as well. And don't underestimate the power of your voice to touch hearts and maybe even inspire change in other people, or even to just make them feel seen. So I hope this was really empowering, and I hope it fuels your journey with energy, and you make loads of songs and you share your voice. I would love to hear in the comments if this resonated with you, where you're at. So go ahead and share, and I will see you in the next video.